Okay, Dick, any lineup changes?
Lineup changes, Danny. Ralph Baxter not in uniform for the Canadiens. And right now I'm going to congratulate you, because tonight is Danny Gallivan's broadcast number 1,000 in the National Hockey League, and we'll have more about it later in the program. Congratulations, Danny.
Thank you very much, Dick. And the referee, Ashley, number 1. And the linesman, there you see the opposing goalies, Eddie Johnson for Boston, Philip Neer for Montreal. The linesmen are D'Amico and Armstrong. And the play is on. A lot of interest hereabouts in this game, and I suppose right across the country. Now it's Esposito for Boston, clearing it into Canadian territory, and that's Ferguson digging from the left side. He waited too long, finally gets a second shot on it, failed to come up with it. Roberto, number 17, the youngster for the Canadiens, to Harper now. Here comes Cashman going in. He rolls it. Esposito right out in front, of pass for Cashman, and he couldn't get it. Canadians back with Harper at center. On the left side, Mahovlich, and he couldn't get Bobby Orr to make the move that he wanted, and Orr stopped him. Cashman clearing it out on the left side, runs into Roberto, and Harper cleared it back. And this game starting off at a lively pace. Bobby Orr over the line. He knocked down Esposito's shot, and Neer kicked it out. Orr was knocked down, but Esposito was set up beautifully. Mahovlich, a long shot, and the rebound goes to Cashman. Orr to Esposito. Esposito winding up with a shot into the corner. Roberto covering up and bumping there with Cashman. It's behind the net. Hodge tried to center it. Ferguson clearing it ahead for Mahovlich. Out he comes with Ferguson, who has it at center across the line. The shot. And in there goes Green. But Johnson cleared it finally to Green, up on the wing to Hodge, a pass back to the far side. And the team's making changes while the play goes on. No whistles. Mahovlich got a great hand. That's the big M as he skated on. McKenzie clearing it in. Cournoyer on with Gallivan and Frank Mahovlich. Cournoyer was bumped there behind the net by McKenzie. Guy Lapointe hammered Stanfield in on the boards. Gallivan to Cournoyer. Loose puck picked up by J.C. Tremblay ahead to Mahovlich. Here's Frank Mahovlich from the corner. Out it comes to Cournoyer. He scores!
Cournoyer has given the Canadiens this early 1-0 lead. And you have to say that Frank Mahovlich has made quite a home ice debut for his new team as he makes the play after splitting through the defense on the good pass from J.C. Tremblay. Look at Mahovlich throw it right back to Cournoyer, and he's got that top left-hand corner over Eddie Johnston's shoulder. For Ivan Cournoyer, his 22nd goal of the season.
Avec les numéros 27 de Frank Mahovlich. Canadiens goal scored by number 12, Yvan Cournoyer, assisted by number 27, Frank Mahovlich, and number 3, Jean-Claude Tremblay, at 2 minutes, 9 seconds.
Canadiens leading 1-0. Lemaire, a pass. In goes LaRose after Carlton. It comes to the right side. Westfall laying it back behind the net to Rick Smith. Now Green wearing that helmet. LaRose after him, up on the wing. Westfall ran into Richard. Now Richard has the loose puck from the boards, gets it back. Lemaire couldn't get the shot away, and Sanderson fades over to the left side. Up on the wing, Richard after him, and J.C. Tremblay cleared it to center. Westfall back in there, and it's called on the offside. We've played 3 minutes into the first period. 1-0 Montreal.
I'm sure you heard Danny and I talking over the last few weeks that this game was an eagerly anticipated affair here in Montreal. Tremendous crowd, and so far we've had some fine action.
Tremblay being watched by Sanderson. Now then Tremblay. The pass goes to Guy Lapointe at center. LaRose racing up on the wing. The long shot right in front, and it's cleared finally. And that Lapointe shot gave Eddie Johnston lots of trouble. Now it's Westfall taking the shot. Picks up the rebound, centered it. And Lemaire starts on the left side with Richard and LaRose. Lemaire over for LaRose. And in there goes number 10 for Boston, Rick Smith. They try to get the puck loose, and the play is stopped for a face-off in Boston territory. Up for the face-off, Canadians, everybody up. It was Hodge who moved out of position. If cold weather is ideal for hockey, then this is a perfect night for hockey. 9 degrees below zero 1 hour ago. And we have a 20-mile-an-hour bone-chilling wind. Esposito slides the pass to Orr. Here's Orr darting in on that right side. Orr getting it back. Dallas Smith winds up with a shot. A loose puck in front. Falling out there is Meir. And Phil Roberto starting away with Ferguson. Roberto being watched by Smith. There's the high drive off the glass. Orr for Hodge. He's bumped by Mahovlich. Ferguson gets it, shoots it back in. And Orr racing out for Boston. Down to the defense. Roberto flicked it high in the air. Where is it? And Esposito finally came up with it.
The line out there right now for the Canadiens, Pete Mahovlich at center between John Ferguson and Phil Roberto, is a new combination. And their mission is obvious. They are the checking line tonight against this big threesome centered by Phil Esposito for the Bruins with Hodge and Cashman. Danny Philmere made quite a save off Esposito in that first sequence of action, shortly after which Cornway scored the goal.
Well, if anything should give a goalie confidence, it would be saving on Esposito early in the game, because Esposito has been the talk of hockey with his prolific scoring. There he is, number 7, against Savard. Now Hodge picks it up for Boston. Hodge shooting it. Off the leg it goes. Hodge after it again. Back to the point it goes to Dallas Smith over to Bobby Orr. He winds up with a shot. Where is it this time? And it's going to be a penalty here. Cashman was knocked to the ice. Repairing air going off like they holding.
An extra strength.
Canadiens penalty number 2, Jacques Laperrière. 2 minutes for holding at 4 minutes 53 seconds.
Ferrier off for holding, and there's the reason. 4:53 the time.
And now we have the awesome and vaunted Boston power play on. McKenzie getting it back to Orr, who fails to pick it up, and Savard shoots it down the ice. Esposito, Busick, McKenzie, Stanfield, and Orr for Boston. Rochefort and Savard up front for the Canadiens. Tremblay on defense with Guy Lapointe. Here's Esposito streaking in there. Rochefort gets it, shoots it out over the line and down the ice. 1 minute and 30 seconds left in the penalty. And Savard and Rochefort cruising up at the Boston line. Now the Bruins out led by Stanfield. Into the corner. McKenzie hopping in there. He falls into the board. Tremblay clearing it for Savard. Out with Rochefort. And Guy Lapointe. Savard is across the line. Dragging the puck, killing off the clock. Savard still with it. 1 minute left in the penalty. Here's Savard. Playing it back into his own zone. Tremblay off to Rochefort, and the Bruins just can't get that puck. Finally, Rochefort shoots it into Bruin territory. Coach Al McNeil sending Frank Mahovlich on. Here's Bobby Orr at center. Orr over the line, cutting in on the right side. And Guy Lapointe knocked it off his stick. Now 30 seconds left in the penalty. Here's Lapointe dashing down on that right side. Mahovlich up on the other wing. Over to Mahovlich, right into the goal. He missed the net. A great play there by Lapointe and Mahovlich. McKenzie dashing it on the right side. Over goes to Stanfield. Boarding it. Loose puck in front of the net. Here's McKenzie. McKenzie getting set. Flipped it in front, and J.C. Tremblay has it. Tremblay rolled it out. Down the ice it goes. And there's going to be a penalty here to McKenzie.
Power play now, but right here he came within an eyelash of scoring with the Canadiens a man short as he was sent in by Guy Lapointe. He missed the net.
John McKenzie, 2 minutes for cross-checking at 6 minutes 53 seconds.
6:53. Canadiens' penalty had expired, so they now have the advantage, and they lead 1-0. Guy Lapointe going in on that right side. Don Orey tries to tie him up. Green feeds it up along the boards, and it's down the ice. For Montreal in the power play, we have Cournoyer, Gallivan, Mahovlich, Tremblay, and Guy Lapointe. For Boston, Sanderson is out there. There's Gallivan going to the line. Couldn't get by Don Orey. Green cleared it to center. Cournoyer, he has scored the only goal in the game so far over for Mahovlich. Mahovlich going in against Green. Into the corner, Gallivan trapping it. He's bodied by Green. Cournoyer kicks it to Mahovlich. Mahovlich playing it back to Tremblay over on this side to Lapointe. Lapointe shooting it, and it was blocked by Green. Here's Sanderson racing after it. Sanderson going in. He flipped it in there, and Phil Neer covered up. Sanderson showed great speed there, Dick.
He's a great penalty killer. He's a fine hockey player, of course. Look at him go. Tremblay with the sliding attempt at the save knocks the puck just away from Sanderson's stick enough to stop him from getting a clean shot. Phil Neer has made some excellent saves for the Canadiens. Just prior to that break by Mahovlich, he made back-to-back stops. Freddie Stanfield and Phil Esposito.
McKenzie, 50 seconds remaining in his penalty. Don Marcotte, number 21, on now for Boston with Westfall. Peter Mahovlich with Lemaire. Cournoyer at the line. Now it's loose, and Peter Mahovlich turns at center, passes it to Cournoyer. Cournoyer back on the left side, and Don Marcotte cleared it ahead. Guy Lapointe to J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay clearing it ahead, and Dallas Smith sends it back into the Canadian zone. And now there are 20 seconds left in McKenzie's penalty. And Guy Lapointe working his way out, passes it to Peter Mahovlich. He works down on the right wing for Roberto coming up with him. Here's Mahovlich going in, and he almost got right in there. He ran into Orr, and there's going to be a penalty to Mahovlich. Mahovlich is infuriated.
There it is on the replay. Big Pete couldn't get his way past Orr with that last move, and then he became rather upset, obviously, and let Bobby have it. And so he's in the penalty box with just 1 second left in the Boston penalty to Johnny McKenzie, roughing the call against Pete Mahovlich.
For 20, Pete Mahovlich, 2 minutes for roughing at 8 minutes, 52 seconds.
8:52 the time of the roughing penalty against Peter Mahovlich. And McKenzie, 1 second left in his penalty. He's ready. He's got the gate open. Esposito, Busick, Orr, and Stanfield. Now McKenzie back on, and the Bruins have the advantage. Canadians are leading 1-0 on Cournoyer's goal. Stanfield leading a 4-man Boston attack to McKenzie, cutting in on that right side. And he was offside by a whisker. And, Dick, we have a tremendous representation from Boston here tonight, about 500 fans.
And to laugh at Johnny McKenzie, came out of the penalty box and just glided across the blue line like the sleeper play in football, hoping nobody would see him. He was in behind the defense.
Stanfield. Turning is Esposito, working up on that left side, comes back through center. The long shot near, kicking it out. Rochefort, number 21 for Montreal, cutting right in front. Rochefort, a neat move to get away from Stanfield. Rochefort with Savard. Savard shooting it. Blocked by Orr. Stanfield coming back for the Bruins. Ahead through center is Esposito. Esposito rolled it into the corner. Gliding in there, McKenzie against LaPerriere. Busick to the far side. Rochefort trying to tie him up. Now Esposito back to Stanfield. Over it comes off the boards. Orr fakes the shot. Back to McKenzie. It's deflected by the stick of Savard. Savard going right in on goal. Getting set. Goal!
I didn't think Serge Savard would be able to last out-skating Johnny McKenzie on the play. He checks McKenzie at the line with the sweep. You see, he's got a good stride and a half on him anyway. McKenzie trying to catch up, tries to check him, and Savard fires it high into the net. And the Canadiens lead 2-0.
Canadiens goal scored by number 18, Serge Savard, unassisted at 9 minutes, 55 seconds.
9:55, Savard, unassisted. Here's Frank Mahovlich against Orr. Mahovlich played it to the line. Canadians, Peter Mahovlich with 38 seconds left in his penalty. Stanfield took Orr's spot. Stanfield going to the Canadiens' line. Hodge off the board. Into the corner to Stanfield. In front, Esposito couldn't get it. Harper deflecting it to center for Montreal. Orr again to Hodge. Hodge to Esposito. Esposito at the line. Cleared it ahead. Here's Cashman off the board. Still has it. Back to Orr. Orr getting set. The shot. Oh, what a grab by Phil Muir.
What a grab is right. That Boston power play, getting it back to Orr, as they often do. And look at the save by Muir. He could have been partially screened on the play, but I guess he wasn't because he had it taped all the way. Young Phil Muir, who hasn't played for a few games for the Canadiens, back in action tonight. There's Tom Johnson.
Seven seconds remaining in the Montreal penalty. Montreal 2, Boston no score. Orr off the board to Hodge in front to Esposito. Esposito doesn't shoot it. Cardiff almost intercepted it. Now back onto the ice comes Peter Mahovlich. And it was a productive penalty for Montreal, scoring while they were shorthanded, something the Bruins have been doing with monotonous regularity as far as other teams in the league are concerned.
5 games elsewhere tonight in the NHL. In Toronto, the Maple Leafs have taken a 1-0 lead over Los Angeles in the first period. Henderson from McKinney and Ullman at 7:12. Elsewhere, it's Philadelphia at Detroit, Buffalo at Minnesota, Chicago at St. Louis, and Pittsburgh at Vancouver.
Sanderson, Carlton is number 11, Westfall 18, Richard 16 from Montreal, LaRose 15, and Lemaire 25. These are the lines. Down the ice it goes. Into Canadian territory, Richard being watched by Sanderson. Now then Richard with 8:43 left in the period hands it off to J.C. Tremblay. Back for Richard. Green clearing it to the boards. And the pocket is there to get it. Ahead for Lemaire. He scoops it into Boston territory. Carlton with Lemaire after him. Richard trying to get possession. Now Westfall. Out to Carlton. Carlton at the line. Off the left wing board. Carlton still with it. He and Tremblay go to the ice. Richard fails to clear it out. Sanderson to Westfall. Back it goes into the corner from Westfall. At the point, Don Orey, a high drive. And Muir, who has been very alert tonight, stopped that rebound. Now Sanderson keeping it in for Boston to Carlton. Sanderson going in. Shoots. Oh, he just missed on the lower side. Bruins with the pressure on. Back it goes to Don Orey. A drive. He was high and wide. J.C. Tremblay to LaRose. LaRose on the board. And finally the Canadiens have to shoot it down the ice to relieve that relentless Boston pressure. Lining up for the face-off to the right of Phil Muir. Stanfield, Busick, and McKenzie against Beliveau, Cournoyer, and Frank Mahovlich. Busick taking a shot from the face-off. And Frank Mahovlich clearing it for Beliveau. Fails to get it. Dallas Smith knocking it back. Cournoyer couldn't get it. Frank Mahovlich working in on his wrong wing. Here's Mahovlich to pass him for Beliveau. A backhand shot. Eddie Johnson had that short side covered well. Beliveau. His man, Dallas Smith. McKenzie on the right side. Cleared it through center, and it's down the ice with the Boston Bruins. Call for ice. Potentially, this meeting between the Bruins and the Canadiens has to be the most attractive hockey package so far for local fans, certainly this year and perhaps for many years. We have 18,000 plus a few hundred here tonight. But the demand was so great they could have put 25,000 in had the space been available. Dallas Smith centering it. Off the board. Busick winds up. Over it goes. Stanfield on the board. Tipping it to the corner. There's Busick romping in against Mahovlich. McKenzie going after it. He hopped by J.C. Tremblay. Stanfield shoots it. Stanfield again. Another shot. And now Gila Point rams McKenzie against the board. Big Mahovlich break. Had his arm around McKenzie, almost upended him, and then McKenzie wanted to get at Mahovlich. And little Gila Point, you saw him fire that left hand over the net, and Busick was going to go after Gila Point, and Armstrong took him away.
I think things have calmed down, taking away for a moment the perfect rebound situation that Freddie Stanfield found himself in when he let that shot go. And Mayer, boy, you can't get it right back as well as that, and Mayer made the second save. This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal.
Pope John Paul from documentary filmmaker Terence McKenna. Part 1 explores the Pope's crucial role in the fall of communism. The Life and Times of Pope John Paul II, January 7th on CBC.
McKenzie and Mahovlich off. We'll know the magnitude of the sentences in just a moment. Likely minors.
John McKenzie, et au Canadien, le numéro 27, Frank Mahovlich, 2 minutes chacun pour Rivets, à 13 minutes 29 secondes. The penalties, McKenzie, and to the Canadiens, number 27, Frank Mahovlich, 2 minutes each for roughing at 13 minutes 29 seconds.
That incident took place down at the Canadiens' net. There's been a hole torn in the net, so we have some repair work going on. During our first intermission tonight, it will be memory time for Daddy as he reminisces on this occasion of broadcast number 1,000 for him in the NHL. Brian will be chatting with Teddy Green of the Boston Bruins, and Howie Meeker is in from Newfoundland, and he's our analyst for tonight's game. He's very interested in Frank Mahovlich, of course, because Howie was his first coach, I believe, in Toronto, signed him for the Maple Leafs, as a matter of fact, when Frank was a rookie.
There's Tom Johnson, bow tie and all. I think he has the bow tie on.
Oh, yes, and the cigar before the game.
And then we saw great close-ups of mustachio of Derek Sanderson. Garrett Bush had a mustache. There's Bobby Orr without a mustache. He clears it into the corner. J.C. Tremblay working his way out in the penalty box. Mahovlich and McKenzie. Here's Gallivan down on the left side. Passes it over. Busick starting back for Boston. Busick working it around. Now passes it to the far side. Stanfield getting it back to Orr. Going in. And a low drive wide. Dallas Smith sliding the pass to Orr. Here it goes to Stanfield. Stanfield couldn't get by Gila Point. Now it's loose to Gallivan. Coming out with Cournoyer. Gallivan goes right through, over the line, backhand shot, grabbed. It was wide, but grabbed in any case by Eddie Johnston. Gallivan got a piece of Stanfield. Here's Bobby Orr. Canadians are leading 2-0 here in the first period. Orr down to the line, winds up for the shot. That was a hot one. And Meir had it taped all the way. Orr getting it. Orr, the pass deflected. Mark Cardiff clearing it out through center. And Dallas Smith there for Boston. Hodge. Esposito just clears it in, and that's Tremblay feeding it to Gila Point. A pass goes to Lemaire. Down with Cardiff. Lemaire shooting it. Rebound. Gila Point shoots it. A low drive off the boards. Harper right in front of Cardiff. He shoots it. And Teddy Green blocked that one. Now it's Hodge back for Boston, taking the long shot. LaPerriere hopped on the ice for Montreal. He gets the pass out to Lemaire off his stick. Green clearing it back. Cardiff on the boards, and we have 15 seconds left in the penalties to McKenzie and Mahovlich. Esposito over the line, making a nice move. Esposito shooting from the sharp angle. Meir holding on.
Tonight marks the third meeting of the season for these teams. Boston winning the previous game 6-1 in Boston and 4-2 here at the Forum in Montreal. The Bruins, of course, in first place in the East Division, 1 point ahead of the New York Rangers. The California Golden Seals did the Bruins a favor last night. They defeated the Rangers 3-1 in Oakland. Billy Hickey, Dennis Hextall, and Jarrett scoring for California. Jean Rattel tallied for New York.
Back it goes to Green. Green put it right on Peter Mahovlich's stick. It goes to Phil Roberto ahead to LaPerriere. Penalized players back on. LaPerriere, a pass for Roberto, and he went sliding on the ice. Cashman clearing it to center. Now it's back to McKenzie. He fakes the pass to get away from Peter Mahovlich to Cashman. Oh, he made a fine move. Now he runs into Harper, who knocks him to the ice. Roberto throwing it to the far left side. He took a jolt from Marcotte. And right here, it wouldn't be at all surprising if they concentrate almost exclusively on laying on the body. Now it's Esposito coming in against Ferguson, a backhand shot covering up on that weak backhander, actually, Phil Mir.
And a little bit of fencing down in the goal crease area. Cashman and Phil Roberto, who joined the Canadiens from the Voyageurs for the game in Minnesota on Thursday night, ex-Niagara Falls Junior.
Montreal 2, Boston no score of 3:50 left. Back to Green at the point. Cashman couldn't get it. Harper clearing it ahead at the point. Don Orey shoots it back in. LaPerriere being watched by Cashman. LaPerriere. Now he has Esposito to contend with. It goes to Ferguson. A pass over to Harper. Harper, a left wing pass. Ferguson dashes up along the boards. Green is after him. Now it goes to Don Orey. LaPerriere moving up at the point. Fails to keep it in. Cashman ahead to Esposito. Esposito lost it. Cashman gets it. Cleared it in front. And Roberto for Montreal ahead to Mahovlich. Peter Mahovlich. Mahovlich has it knocked off his stick. Cashman. But it goes to Esposito. He just flicks it into the corner. And 3 minutes exactly left in this first period. Oh. Anderson keeping it in, bouncing it in there. And Mir got a errant stick from Marcotte.
It was an amazing game.
You see our scoreboard. It's 1-0 for Vancouver over Pittsburgh. Philadelphia leading Detroit 2-1.
Robbie Orr winding up for the shot. He scores! I wonder if Carlson or anybody get a stick in front of that drive.
Well, it's 2-1 here at the Forum right now. The Canadiens leading the Bruins. What a tremendous shot by Bobby Orr. As he really drilled it right off the face-off. Bang, bang play. Sanderson, tremendous, winning the draws, of course, and he beats Phil Mir with the low shot. Now, Danny says we'll wait and see if it touched anybody, but it was drilled low. No, Bobby Orr gets the goal.
Boston's goal scored by number 4, Bobby Orr, assisted by number 16, Derek Sanderson, at 17 minutes, 12 seconds.
Sanderson, who is a master, Dick, at getting those face-offs, and he showed it there, getting that puck back to Orr, who drilled the low drive in there, and Boston right back into contention here, 2-1. Montreal 2, Boston 1, 2:29 left. LaRose getting it back to Guy Lapointe. Lapointe to J.C. Tremblay, gets away from Sanderson to Lapointe. And he just rolls it into Boston territory. Bobby Orr getting the attack organized, slides the pass to Sanderson. He hops to center, cleared it ahead, and Tremblay broke it up. Tremblay to Lemire over his stick, and Orr back there in possession for the Bruins. 2 minutes left now in the period. Orr taking his time. Dallas Smith. The pass is bad for Westfall. Second getting a bit close right here for one of the few times in this first period. It's been a period with lots of action. And Guy Lapointe waiting for the pocket. Here's Richard getting away from Sanderson. Drops it back. Tremblay now starting out. Ahead for Richard. Sanderson there for the Bruins in with Eddie Westfall. Sanderson still has it. Flipped a pass, and Jacques Lemire turning for Montreal. Over on the right side to LaRose. LaRose has it knocked off his stick, and Orr cleared it out to center. Guy Lapointe knocking it back in. Dallas Smith ahead to Carlton. He steps across the line. There's the shot, and it goes off Tremblay. Tremblay coming right in front. Feeds it to Richard. 1 minute left in the period. Richard over the line. Richard trying to dump it in front. Orr made contact with the puck in midair, and it's a souvenir off the stick of Bobby Orr.
The goal tonight by Serge Savard came when the Canadiens were short-handed. It's only the second time this season that the Bruins have been scored during one of their power plays. Chicago did it very early in the campaign.
53 seconds left. Eddie Green, who represents one of the great comeback stories in all of sport. He played it up off a stick and down the ice, and LaPerriere gets back there for the Canadiens. LaPerriere turning with Gallivan, Harper, Cournoyer, and Ferguson. Harper to LaPerriere. He shoots it in, and the Canadiens, who lead 2-1, dash in there. Green covering up, played it on the boards. Gallivan getting it back. Now Harper takes a low drive. Off a stick it goes. McKenzie fails to clear it out. Gallivan is fast stopped by Stanfield. Busick over on this side to McKenzie. McKenzie is across the line. Takes a shot, and it went off LaPerriere. 7 seconds left. Back it goes to Don Orey, the shot. And, ooh, that one went off the baseboards with great resiliency up in the air about 30, 35 feet. 3 seconds left. Gallivan facing off against Stanfield at the Canadiens line. Back to Orey, and that's the period. Montreal 2, Boston 1 at the end of 1.
Shots on goal in that first period by the Bruins, 16 by the Canadiens, 7. From the Forum in Montreal, hockey night in Canada.
Ferguson, Peter Mahovlich, and Phil Roberto, and play is on in the second period. Dallas Smith at his own line. Now he starts out, slides the pass to Cashman. Cashman with Orr moving up. There's the sliding shot. In goes Peter Mahovlich, and he tipped it down into Bruin territory. No whistle for icing there. They felt that with a little effort, Dallas Smith could have got it. Smith clearing it out. Now it's at center. Peter Mahovlich firing it back in. And Orr is there. In pursuit is John Ferguson. Going to be a penalty to Ferguson, who ends up on his back. John Ferguson going on. He doesn't like it.
Here in the first moment of the second period, John Ferguson in the penalty box. And here's the replay of the infraction as he grabs Bobby Orr, who was swinging around behind his own net.
John Ferguson, at 36 seconds.
Ferguson off for holding after 36 seconds. Boston with Busick, Esposito, McKenzie, Orr, and Stanfield. Now Orr sliding the pass to Esposito. Out with McKenzie and Busick. They clear it in. McKenzie racing in there, and he shot it to the short side. Esposito clearing it back, and it's between Orr and Stanfield, and the Bruins have to go back into their own zone for it. 1 minute and 31 seconds left in the penalty. Stanfield over to McKenzie. He hops out on the right side and over the Montreal line. McKenzie flipping it across the goal. Now Busick takes a shot. Harper with it. He cleared it ahead. Savard, who has scored a shorthanded goal, gives it to Rushmore. A shot off Eddie Johnston. Bobby Orr gathering speed from the corner. Out he comes, streaking to center. Orr, a pass over to Busick, and Harper knocked it away. Now in it goes to Busick. Busick back at the left point for Esposito, working in front of backhand, got a loose pass, and Busick was stopped. Now it's back to Orr. Over on this side to Stanfield. Stanfield centered it. Intercepted by Savard off Rochefort's stick. And down into Bruin territory again. Tom Johnson of Boston has made a change. Number 12, Cashman, is out. Stanfield leads the attack. Lead pass. In there goes Esposito, is shot. Near just covering up on that quick shot. And LaPerriere sends it down the ice. Frank Mahovlich comes out for Montreal. 17 seconds left in the penalty. Montreal leading 2-1. Esposito, back it goes on the right side. A Hodge, he fired it, and Near is holding on, getting a whistle. Peter Mahovlich coming out to face off against Esposito. Now Esposito has it. LaPerriere blocking it, and out comes LaPerriere to Mahovlich. In for Peter Mahovlich, broken up by Orr. Ferguson has served his penalty. Esposito in over the Canadiens line. Peter Mahovlich takes him in on the boards rather lustily. Cashman against Harper, and the play is stopped.
Danny, with Peter and Frank out there together, I don't know. When was the last time the Canadians had the brother act? Would you have to go back to 60, the last year the Rocket played with Henry?
I would think Richard.
Yeah.
Sanderson against Richard. Don Orey and Green playing up. Jacques Lemaire hustles out of his own zone, being watched by Green. Lemaire fails to get the shot away. Now he has it. Claude LaRose going after it. LaRose to J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay right in front of Lemaire, and he couldn't get it. Guy Lapointe takes his shot, blocked by Westphal. Coming down with Carlton. Westphal going in on that right side. Shoots it. Another shot. Near down. And he keeps it out.
Good save by Phil Meir off Eddie Westphal as the Canadians get caught with Guy Lapointe trapped at the Boston blue line. LaRose dropped back as a defenseman. Both defensemen are out of the picture, as you see. The first shot saved and the second shot saved. And Phil Meir is still on the ice. I don't know if he's hurt or entangled with the net. I guess he was entangled.
Boston. Everybody up for the face-off. Guy Lapointe chopping it through center. Don Orey, watched by LaRose, feeds it to Green. Green ahead for Westphal, and he slapped it in on the right side. 3 minutes and 30 seconds have gone by. Second period, 2-1, Montreal leading. Here's LaRose out over the line. Laid it back. Guy Lapointe, the long shot. Eddie Johnson with Don Orey clearing it to the corner. Carlton ahead on the left side. Sanderson gathering speed, being watched by J.C. Tremblay. Sanderson almost got through there. Tremblay ahead to Lemaire. Richard up on the far side. Here's Richard passing it back. Carlton ahead to Westphal. Sanderson moving up in the play. Armstrong falls. He's the linesman. LaRose winding up for the shot. The rebound. Lemaire missed it. Westphal again for Boston. Hitting the Montreal line. Now it's back. Carlton has it. Carlton getting set, trying to center it, and Tremblay got a stick in front of it. Here's Green for the Bruins. Clearing it in there, and it rolls to Meir, and he is a man who has been tremendously alert in this game tonight, Phil Meir. Four minutes, 27 seconds has gone by. Second period. Stanfield, McKenzie, and Busey for the Bruins. Gallivan, Mahovlich, and Cournoyer. LaPerriere chasing it to the corner. Tied up. Gallivan gets it. Cournoyer. Busey after him. It goes to Savard. He ran into Stanfield. Out it comes. McKenzie has it. He's spun around by LaPerriere. Cournoyer at the line. There's the shot. A low drive wide. Mahovlich trying to clear it in. Frank Mahovlich from the corner. Now Stanfield for the Bruins. They fight for it, and Orr takes over. Pass to McKenzie. Back it comes for Orr. Down on the right side. In he goes, and he's hauled down by LaPerriere. Frank Mahovlich waiting for Gallivan, who is now circling. Gallivan takes it. Up on the wing, Busey keeping it in for the Bruins. Now it's Stanfield. Gallivan has it. Clearing it through center, and Stanfield turns on the left side. The pass over to McKenzie. McKenzie back to Busey. Canadians with Frank Mahovlich clearing it to the line, but not out. Dallas Smith feeding it back. Savard coming out against McKenzie. Gallivan has it with Frank Mahovlich. Gallivan back to Mahovlich. Call offside.
Here's a look at our up-to-date NHL scoreboard. Toronto now leading the Kings 4-1 in Toronto in the second period. 3-1 Philadelphia over Detroit. And the Canucks 1-0 over Pittsburgh out in Vancouver. The games in Minnesota and St. Louis just getting underway.
14-13 left in the period. Montreal 2, Boston 1. All the scoring in the game coming in the first period. J.C. Tremblay hands it to Guy Lapointe. Up on the left side, Ferguson over the line. The drive off the glass, Tremblay keeping it in. Ferguson chases it. He goes after Green. Now Ferguson still moving along the wing. Hodge a pass. Don Orey comes out to center, winds up. There's the shot off Villiers. And Ferguson, he runs into Cashman. Puck is loose. Hodge centering it. Peter Mahovlich there to gobble it up for Montreal. Mahovlich goes to center at the line. Offside, Phil Roberto, number 17, came from nowhere, streaking in there ahead of Peter Mahovlich.
Peter Mahovlich was 11 years of age when older brother Frank broke in as a rookie with the Toronto Maple Leafs. He's bigger than Frank, 6'4", 210. Frank 6 feet, 205.
Mahovlich shooting it wide. Eddie Green. Boston with the line of Esposito, Cashman, and Hodge. Don Orey leading the attack, shooting it in. Near failed to trap it. Ferguson in on the boards against his check. Hodge. Hodge jammed out of the play by Ferguson and Guy Lapointe. Now Peter Mahovlich comes out over the line slowly. Guy Lapointe takes it ahead for Roberto. Roberto skated out of the play by Green. They fight for it on the boards in the face-off in Bruin territory.
Mount Everest.
Happy New Year to all of you guys.
Montreal 2, Boston 1. 12:52 left in the second period. Canadians with a Harper and LaPerriere up to the face-off. Ted Green chasing him, Peter Mahovlich. Green starting out. Comes out over the line, jammed out of the play. Puck picked up by Esposito, and he rifles it into the corner. Harper playing it against Cashman. Hodge centered it for Boston. LaPerriere clearing it on the board. Green keeping it in, and finally it's out over the line. Roberto circling. Esposito chasing him to the boards. Roberto still with it. Finally he lost it after running into Hodge. Ferguson clearing it to the wing. There's Don Orey slapping it toward the corner. Roberto and a Harper. Harper chased the other way, played it by Hodge. Now Ferguson on the left side. Right wing pass to Roberto. Roberto down on the line. And the rebound goes to Cashman. Ferguson knocked it away. Green is belted by Peter Mahovlich. Hodge, a pass over on this side to Cashman over the line. Cashman going into the corner, getting set. He's around the net, knocked out of the play by Harper. Harper is going to get a penalty. And Harper really arguing the point there, Dick, with Ashley, and probably something electronically unprintable said, but just a minor penalty as to now.
Funny, Danny, I was going to mention the first opportunity that I thought Terry Harper is playing one of the best games tonight that he has played in quite some time. There's the replay of the check that Pete Mahovlich put on Teddy Green, and then the play comes down into the Canadiens' end. Now we'll see the infraction on Terry Harper as he chases Cashman in behind the Montreal net. And there's the call, holding.
2 minutes for holding at 8 minutes 19 seconds.
8:19, the holding penalty against Harper. And the Bruins who trail by one of Esposito, McKenzie, Busick, Orr, and Stanfield. And they're all across that Montreal blue line as Coach Al McNeil looks on. He has Savard facing off against Esposito. Now McKenzie gets it. McKenzie shoots it off the leg. Loose puck. Busick playing it back, and it missed Stanfield. Rochefort and Savard, penalty killers. LaPerriere and J.C. Tremblay, the defense. They move well up the ice now, with the Bruins coming out, led by Esposito, Stanfield, Busick, and McKenzie. Esposito over the line, dropping it back to Busick. Over on that side of Bobby Orr. Orr. Back it goes to Busick. Busick closing in, takes a shot, just wide. McKenzie up to Esposito. Here's Stanfield, right in front of Esposito. And he failed to make contact. McKenzie jumps up on Rochefort. Going to be a penalty here. McKenzie jostling with Rochefort. McKenzie going off.
And I would think the Canadian players were rushing to get to Rochefort and say, hang on, don't do anything, because he has the penalty. And here we see it here as that puck came over onto the left wing boards in the Canadian zone, and McKenzie, well, he's a rodeo rider, or used to be, a calf roper anyway. He gave Rochefort a ride, and so Johnny McKenzie gets his second penalty of the evening. 2-1, the Canadians lead. We have 10:57 remaining to play here in the second period.
John McKenzie, 2 minutes pour avoir retenu à 9 minutes 3 secondes. Boston's penalty, number 19, John McKenzie, 2 minutes for holding at 9 minutes 3 seconds.
So the penalty to McKenzie comes with 1:16 left in Harper's penalty, so we have the number 19s off, Harper and McKenzie. Trombley clearing it up on the wing. Green to Ori. Ahead Stanfield to Marcotte, working in on that left side. Marcotte getting set, takes the shot, the puck behind Phil Muir. And Guy Lapointe cleared it against the goalie.
Good move by Don Marcotte as he got in behind the Canadiens' defense, and a lucky move for the Canadiens. That puck stopped after it had slipped through Phil Muir.
Cardiff, number 11 for Montreal. Jammed in on the boards by Marcotte. Lemaire has it over the line. He wrapped that one off Green's leg. Stanfield cruising behind Eddie Johnson. Forechecking Lemaire. Lemaire working the puck back to Guy Lapointe. J.C. Tremblay has it. Montreal leading here in the second period. Tremblay upended by Marcotte. And the crowd reacted on that. And Phil Muir hollering out for referee Ashley. Here's Cardiff out over the line at center. Cardiff circling to this side, passing it back. Guy Lapointe takes it off the boards. The shot, the rebound, and Don Ori right there for Boston. Marcotte was tied up by Cardiff back there in the Boston zone. Ori ahead for Green. Green in on the board. Green still has it, makes a great move, centers it. Harper back on. The Canadiens have the advantage. Lemaire down on the left side. Cournoyer wasn't looking for the pass. Canfield with 30 seconds left in the penalty. Green now with it, clearing it for Marcotte. He fails to clear it out. Tremblay to Guy Lapointe. In it goes. Frank Mahovlich on the board trying to center it. Here's Lapointe back to J.C. Tremblay, back to Lapointe. Lapointe winds up for the shot. Wide. Cournoyer trying to trap it. Cournoyer back for Belleville. To J.C. Tremblay into the corner to Cournoyer. Cournoyer right to Belleville right in front. Cournoyer getting set a shot. Belleville upended. And now back on the ice comes McKenzie. Here's McKenzie breaking in. Trying to get in there in front. And he and Guy Lapointe go to the ice heavily. And McKenzie is complaining bitterly to referee Ashley. Frank Mahovlich with Belleville. Mahovlich for Belleville. And Dallas Smith got back there neatly. LaPerriere ahead to Cournoyer. And he wrapped that one off Dallas Smith's leg. Carlton back at center for Boston, trailing his oar. Over the line. Here's Eddie Westphal. Clearing it in front. And LaPerriere with Peter Mahovlich, who takes it on the left side. Mahovlich fakes the shot. Back it goes. Westphal clearing it on the right side. Down on the line with Sanderson, the shot, and he ripped that one off the glass after hitting Savard. Now Dallas Smith keeping it in there to Westphal. Over goes to Carlton, back to Westphal, the shot, and he hit LaPerriere. LaPerriere takes Sanderson in on the boards. Mahovlich and Cournoyer moving in. And Dick, that's the stuff to feed the troops.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal.
Well, there was great action there for a couple of minutes. Anderson knocking it out over the line. Dallas Smith for Orr. He tipped it across the line. Westphal was draped by LaPerriere. Now LaRose on the right wing, and Carlson slashes it to the other side. Westphal bumping with Lemaire. Lemaire out over the line. LaRose comes to the far right wing. Lemaire near the corner, back for Richard. He centered it. LaRose going into the other corner. Now it goes to Lemaire trying to get in front. Over to Richard, a shot. And Bobby Orr slid in front of that. Orr clearing it off the glass. Carlton stopped at the point by Savard. In for LaRose. LaRose trying to get in front. And he and Orr go to the ice. Westphal from the corner, laying it to the line and out. LaPerriere bounces it in offside. 7:02 left in the second period. Face off at the Bruins blue line. Peter Mahovlich against Esposito. Cashman plays it to Green. Ori, after taking the pass, rushes to center. In it goes to Canadian territory and Tremblay. turns to get away from Cashman. Now Tremblay ahead to Mahovlich, gathering speed through center. Roberto on the right side, into the corner. After him was Don Ore. Hodge, bumped by Roberto, and Green chases it to the other side. Now Cashman, and it eludes everybody. And Guy Lapointe with it at center, backhands it in. 6:23 left in the second period. Esposito, he just missed Hodge with it. It will be icing called against Boston right there.
Checking the out-of-town scores in Vancouver. The Canucks now lead Pittsburgh 2-1. Scoring in that game for Vancouver, Gary Doak and Ed had 2, while Greg Polis has scored for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Toronto now leading Los Angeles 5-1.
Mahovlich working it against the boards, centering it. Cashman feeding it off to Esposito. Esposito down to the Montreal line, still has it, trying to clear it in, and Guy Lapointe knocks it into the center ice area. Don Ore over to Green. Green shooting it ahead for Hodge. Tremblay just fires it back to center, and Green rolls it back in. J.C. Tremblay trying to get away from Cashman, cleared it ahead to Ferguson on the right side. Roberto chasing it. Don Ore clearing it back, out over the line, and Esposito now starting away for the Bruins. Tipped it ahead to Cashman. Canadians have 4 players around the blue line. Cashman ran into Roberto, and it was Roberto who went down. J.C. Tremblay tried to set up Peter Mahovlich. Now Hodge tied up by Ferguson. Canadians checking the Bruins very closely. And Esposito dumped it into Mir. Tremblay working his way out. Ferguson is up on the line, but the pass goes to Beliveau. Beliveau's over the line. Back to Ferguson. He shoots it right on. Eddie Johnson taking that one off his chest and making the save.
The Canadians haven't been getting that many shots right through to Ed Johnson here in this second period. This time Ferguson does. Partially screened. I think Johnson didn't see it until it hit him. And he covered up on the rebound. In Toronto, the Leafs leading now 6-1. 4th, 5th, and 6th goals by McMillan, Ullman, and Ellis.
Lining up for the face-off. Cournoyer going in, a pass too far for Frank Mahovlich. Back to Cournoyer, a shot, and Orr got in front of it. Busick turning from the corner, out over the line. Stanfield and McKenzie with him. Busick is over the line and lost it. And a crowd of 18,804, the biggest crowd ever to see the Canadians play in this rink. The juniors have the record at 18,838. There's a long shot to Eddie Johnson. Bobby Orr coming out. Passes it to Stanfield. Stanfield, a lead pass. Get over the line. Busick going in. Called on the offside. And the Bruins upset on that. And Tom Johnson stepped up on the bench behind his players. LaPerriere laying it for Cournoyer. Montreal 2, Boston 1. Back it goes to LaPerriere. Shooting it in, and McKenzie dashes in there to pick it up for the Bruins. Almost lost it, and Orr comes up with it. Here's Orr. Out over the line. Back to McKenzie. McKenzie flicking it ahead. Beliveau failed to clear it. Now he goes to the corner for it. Beliveau, a long lead pass, and Mahovlich couldn't get his stick on it. Comes right in front, and finally when Orr touches it, the whistle for icing. Complete change. Sanderson is on. Carlton and Westfall on the wings. Back to Orr. Orr takes a shot right on, and Phil Muir had to cover up quickly with Sanderson right in on top of him. Dick, I started to talk about Sanderson's mustache. Remember Bush and who else in the National Hockey League way back then?
And Andy Blair in the 30s for Toronto was another.
Richard clearing it out for LaRose. Lemaire has it. Lemaire across the line, watched by Orr. Deflected to the boards, and Richard bounces in on the right side, cleared it in front, and that's Orr again with it. 3 minutes, 20 seconds left in the period. Orr to Sanderson, out on the wing it goes. Westfall has it back to Sanderson. Sanderson going in there, passing it. Carlson just failed to catch up with it. Nice passing there among Sanderson, Westfall, and then to Carlson. Here's Richard on the backhand. There is it. Right in front. Johnston didn't see it, and then at the last split second, he cleared it. Sanderson down on the left side to Carlson. Carlson clearing it to the corner. Westfall going in. He's bumped heavily there by Guy Lapointe. Westfall clearing it for Sanderson. He was upended by Richard. Sanderson talking to the referee. Now J.C. Tremblay to Lemaire. Ahead to Richard. Richard over the line. He drops it back. Lemaire back in for Richard, and he overskated it. Orr. 2-1. Montreal in front. Dallas Smith to Esposito. Down with Cashman. Esposito working in there. Getting set to center it. Blocked nicely by Tremblay, who was bumped by Cashman. LaRose clearing it to center. Don Orey feeding it back in there. Tremblay just clears it out. Canadians, particularly in the last 7 or 8 minutes in this period, had been content when the opportunity presents itself to just clear it out over the line. They have the 1-goal lead. But as everybody knows, this Boston team has that awesome power, great explosive power. Now Orr trying to get away, gives it to Esposito. Mahovlich, Ferguson, and Roberto forechecking for Montreal. Here's Orr, fakes the pass, then he gives it to Esposito. Esposito clearing it across the line. Now Canadians with Ferguson and Roberto. Ferguson going to the line, knocked off his stick. He's going in against Green. They fight for it on the board. And with 1:17 left in this second period, the face-off to the left of Betty Johnston. Talking about the attendance, we have exactly 20 more people here for this game tonight than we had on December the 5th, the game between these two teams. Here's Peter Mahovlich working now at the side of the net, trying to get in front of this puck.
Take a 3-1 lead as Big Pete Mahovlich does a great job off the face-off. It goes to the boards, and he pulls away from Phil Esposito. And then Don Orey fell down. That gave him a chance to get to the corner as Green also fell down. And Roberto wasted no time in whipping it into the open net. That's his first National Hockey League goal.
Avec du numéro 20, Pete Mahovlich, à 18 minutes 50 secondes. Canadians goal scored by number 17, Phil Roberto, assisted by number 20, Pete Mahovlich, at 18 minutes, 50 seconds. Dernière minute de jeu de la deuxième période, last minute of play in the second period.
55 seconds to be exact remaining in this period. That last scoring play, Roberto from Peter Mahovlich at 18:50. Young Phil Roberto. You know, Dick, he's respected, even though he's a rookie. I remember last year in Boston, the last game, a Sunday afternoon game. It was a rugged affair, and he was perhaps the best bodybuilder on the ice for Montreal. He likes the going when it's rough, and that's how you see him playing against Boston quite often. Green takes the long shot. Harper from the corner. Now the pass, Gallivan knocking it into the center ice area. Don Orey feeds it back in, and there are now 35 seconds left. A Perrier to Cournoyer. Up for Mahovlich, and that's offside.
Jerry Unger scored for Detroit to make it 3-2, Philadelphia leading that game. Sharon and Collins, two of the three players involved in the trade this week, going to Detroit, getting the assist. Sharon scored earlier. Mickey Redmond, the third player, was injured Thursday night as he debuted with the Red Wings. Sprained ankle, he's out indefinitely.
There's Harper at his own line. Stanfield checking him. Harper staying with it and hands it off to LaPerriere. LaPerriere shooting it in. And the Bruins will have to hustle if they want to fire any shots on Muir. in this period, for the rest of this period. 7 seconds remaining. It slides into the Canadian zone. Gallivan back after it. McKenzie watching him. 1 second, and now the period has ended. Montreal 3, Boston 1.
Shots on goal in the second period by the Bruins 13, by the Canadiens 10. From the Forum in Montreal, hockey night in Canada.
Right side, Cashman over on the left wing. And for Montreal, Peter Mahovlich, Ferguson on the left wing, and Roberto over on the right side. Harper on defense with LaPerriere for Montreal. It's Dallas, Smith, and Bobby Orr. For Boston, the Bruins cleared into the Canadian zone, moved in there. Ferguson tying up Cashman. They fight for it. Cashman falls, stays with it, and Ferguson swept it over on the wing to Roberto. Roberto at center, scooping it in there. It comes to this side. At the point, Mahovlich can't pick it up, but Hodge gets it back to Orr. Orr at center, going slowly at the line. Offside is Dallas Smith over on the left wing.
In Toronto, that seventh leaf goal, Pelech from Bonn and Keon at 18:30 in the second period. 7-1, Toronto over Los Angeles.
In the face-off, Smith hands it off to Orr. Orr gets it up high in the air off the stick of LaPerriere, and that's the reason why they stopped the play with the stick above the shoulder, LaPerriere making the contact. Tom Johnson does not look happy, but he hasn't had many occasions this year when he could be justifiably unhappy, because this Bruin team has been a hot hockey club. They have lost but 7 games. LaPerriere for Montreal. Wink wide pass off Roberto's stick, high in the air. He gloved it, and he gloved it to Harper. So it's starting off rather slowly here during the first 54 seconds in the third period.
I don't know if hockey players let such things bother them, but the Canadiens have been in the habit this past week of losing leads. 2-0 over Philadelphia Sunday, and they lost 3-0 over Minnesota on Thursday night, and that game ended in a tie.
Dallas Smith, a right wing pass. LaPerriere clearing it to center. Orr waiting for his players to get into position, hands it off to Dallas Smith, in on the line, cleared it to the corner. Cashman going after Roberto. They fight for it on the boards. We may get a whistle here. We do.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
Labrador Tourism.
Don Orey and Ted Green moving up on the points for the Bruins from the faceoff, where Johnny Busey skated before that puck was dropped. So Armstrong, the linesman, will have to execute that shore again. Now it's back to McKenzie. McKenzie trying to work it in front, still has it. Lost it on the boards to Gila Point. Back it comes to Ted Green. There's the shot off a stick, and J.C. Tremblay for Montreal. Out he comes. A lead pass for Frank Mahovlich. Mahovlich shooting it off the board. Gallivan, Cournoyer, and Frank Mahovlich on for Montreal. There's a lead pass. McKenzie to Stanfield. Stanfield playing it in there, and Gila Point knocked it to Cournoyer. Canadians slapping it down the ice, and Green turning at his line. Gets the pass to Don Orey. Orey trying to get organized up on the left side. Still has it. Chopped it toward the corner, and it's Guy Lapointe with it. Lapointe out for Gallivan. He almost was able to headman that puck to Cournoyer, but Don Orey stopped it. Here's Frank Mahovlich. Checked by Busey. Don Orey clearing it on the right side. McKenzie flicked it back. Now to the other side. Cournoyer playing it to Mahovlich. There it goes for Guy Lapointe. The Bruins with Stanfield over to Busey. Busey is across the line. Guy Lapointe after him, ties him up. Busey centered it, and McKenzie couldn't get it. Busey back to Stanfield. It goes to Don Orey. A shot off the leg. Stanfield picking it up for Boston, clearing it in, and Guy Lapointe knocked it away from Busey. Cournoyer out over the line. Mahovlich and Gallivan up on the line with him, offside. 2 minutes, 48 seconds have been played in the third period. Montreal 3, Boston 1. Sanderson, who has played a fine game for Boston tonight, got the draw to Orr to Dallas Smith. Back it comes. Sanderson after it. Sanderson clearing it ahead. LaPerriere with it. Turning with pocket Richard, who takes the pass. Richard going in on that right side. Dallas Smith after him. Richard lost his balance. In there goes Orr. Orr playing it on the board. Having his trouble against LaRose. Richard left it. Now Orr has it with Dallas Smith. Sanderson goes to the far left side. Sanderson has it. Passed it across the crease. Racing in Orr, trying to keep it in. He does. Here's Orr around the net, trying to get in front. Orr shoots it, and he hit the side of the net. And there's going to be a penalty against Montreal. He looked at LaRose and LaPerriere. It'll be holding.
From the Forum in Montreal, hockey night in Canada.
I do.
Thank you.
Jacques LaPerriere for holding, and what do you do with Bobby Orr when he off in one of his flying rushes? That's what LaPerriere did. He's in the penalty box.
Esposito, McKenzie, Busey, Stanfield, and Orr. A pass for Orr, deflected by Savard. Now Orr cruising back into his own zone, getting organized with McKenzie, Esposito, and Stanfield. Busey remains up along the left wing. Now Orr gives it to Esposito. Esposito to McKenzie. McKenzie, a pass intercepted by Rochefort. Rochefort coming to center, runs into McKenzie, and Busick has it. Busick clearing it to the boards. Orr to Stanfield. Stanfield fakes the pass, keeps it. Now to Orr. He lost it, and Savard rolls it back into Boston territory. Rochefort skating after it, and Stanfield beats him to the puck. A minute and 15 seconds remaining in the penalty. Stanfield. Bruins coming out slowly. Now Stanfield goes to the line, drops it to the point to McKenzie. Busick feeding it to Orr. Orr working his way in there. Busick trying to center it. And Rochefort comes up with it. Rochefort getting away from Esposito. Twisting and turning. Lays it to Tremblay, ahead to Savard. Savard, who has scored a goal while the Canadians are shorthanded. There he takes the shot, blocked by Orr. Orr coming back, a right wing pass to McKenzie. McKenzie into the corner, shoots it. It's to the other point. There's Stanfield with it into the corner to Busick off his stick. McKenzie centering it in front. Esposito tried to get it, and Phil Neer had to cover up.
Here we see it on the replay as Phil Esposito tries to jam that rebound underneath Phil Neer right here, but he really didn't get a good shot away, and Guy Lapointe had him tied up in front of the net. The reaction you hear from the crowd is directed toward Johnny McKenzie, who now goes to the Boston players' bench.
25 seconds remaining in the penalty. Orr at the point, off the boards to Hodge. Here's Hodge shooting it. And Guy Lapointe sends it down the ice. And now there are 13 seconds left. Stanfield leading the attack. Busick trailing. Into the corner it goes. Esposito against Guy Lapointe, and Boston call for the icing. 1 second left in the penalty.
And a pretty young Boston supporter in the crowd. Danny mentioned several people from Boston. There's Phil Esposito, who has that tremendous scoring start. And, you know, one of the things that's of interest, will Esposito be the first man since Rocket Richard to score 50 goals in 50 games? He has 41 after 42 games. The year that the Rocket got to 50 and 50, he had 45 goals after 42 games.
So if the penalty, for all intents and purposes, over, 1 second remaining, Montreal did a fine job killing off the Boston power play. No need of our telling you how powerful that power play is. So LaPerriere has served his penalty. Stanfield to Westfall. Green overskated it. Richard picks it up. Goes in on the right side. Richard losing it. Sanderson clearing it out, and then lost it to Richard. Here's Richard going to the line. Lemaire racing in against Westfall. Westfall hit Richard with it in the pocket, and Westfall fight for it, and Green now against Richard in the face-off. Coming up in the crowd, Canadian supporters, a round of applause for Richard. Face-off coming outside the line.
Maple Leafs still scoring goals. It's now 8-1 over Los Angeles. Ellis at 1:49 of the third period in Toronto.
Sanderson flicking it off to the corner. Carlton going in. Harper circling for Montreal, playing it off the boards to Richard. He has LaPerriere with him. LaPerriere back to Richard. Richard winds up. Now the rebound. Lemire shot it right on. And Eddie Johnson had to be quick on that. Westphal, a lead pass, and he almost got Sanderson into the clear, but Harper broke it up. Here's Richard back for Montreal. Getting set for their shot. Escape saved by Eddie Johnson. Westphal. Don Orey now working his way up. Carlton clearing it ahead. Harper knocked it down. Gloved ahead to Richard, and we have 13:06 left in this third period.
From the Forum in Montreal, hockey night in Canada.
So it's Peter Mahovlich, Ferguson, and Phil Roberto against Esposito, Hodge, and Cashman. And it's Harper all over the line. Harper ahead for Mahovlich. Orr chasing it. Mahovlich right after him. Ferguson trying to get it, but Orr succeeds in holding it against the boards. Forced there by Mahovlich. We mentioned Montreal at Buffalo tomorrow night, Toronto at Boston, New York at Chicago, Minnesota at Detroit, Vancouver at California, Los Angeles at Philadelphia. Another busy night in the National League tomorrow night. We'll be on CBC Radio from Buffalo at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. There's Dallas Smith clearing it into the Canadian zone. Esposito shooting it. He was ambidextrous there. Cashman falling. Now they fight for it. Hodge getting it free. Back to the point to Dallas Smith. There's a shot. Bouncing puck. Hodge chasing it against Harper. And they're in on the boards and get a stoppage in play.
A tremendous goal output of the Bruins, a big story, of course. Their top three scorers, Esposito, Busick, and Hodge, have a total of 92 goals. That's one more than the output to date of the entire Minnesota North Stars team.
Now it goes to Orr. He winds up a high drive. Near cleared it away. Esposito trying to center it. Peter Mahovlich plays it on the boards, and there's Orr with it. Back in it goes to Hodge. He tries to center it, and Mahovlich, Peter has it. Mahovlich coming out, a pass off Ferguson's stick. Here's Orr racing back. Played it in over the line. And a Harper skating after it. 3-1 Montreal leading. Off the boards is down into Bruin territory. Orr back. 17, the Canadiens rookie Roberto. Orr a pass. Cashman has it. Dallas Smith, the defenseman, comes up on the left wing. Esposito cleared it in. The Canadiens Harper, who has been very prominent tonight for Montreal. Dallas Smith clearing it in. Now Cashman getting set for a shot. And LaPerriere got a piece of it as he was falling. Peter Mahovlich clearing it on the left wing. Out it comes off the stick of Ferguson down the ice. Chasing it is Dallas Smith. Icing against the Canadiens. 11:18 left in the hockey game. While we have a moment, we generally look after birthdays on this program. That venerable goalie for the Toronto Maple Leafs, Jacques Plante, 42 tomorrow. And he's having a tremendous year with Toronto. Guy Lapointe clearing it on the boards. There's Busick leaving it. Don Orey shooting it. It's blocked. Canadians, J.C. Tremblay down with Gallivan. Tremblay getting it back to Cournoyer. He shoots, and Eddie Johnson came out and got in front of that cannonading drive by Cournoyer. Busick ahead to McKenzie. Off his stick, Busick has it down on the right side. Cournoyer after him. Puck is loose right inside. Now Gallivan played it off the boards to center. And Green for the Bruins, slapping it on the boards. Guy Lapointe knocked it back to center. Stanfield going to the Montreal line. Here's Stanfield from the corner, centering into the crease. And Phil Neer taking no chances with McKenzie and Tremblay riding in there.
line out there for the Canadiens, Gallivan, Fernway, and Mahovlich. It takes a while for fellas to get used to playing with one another. As we watch the replay now of the Fernway shot, it was man on man as he winds up and really lets fly. Eddie Johnson played it very coolly in the net for the Bruins as he cut off the angle. Fernway and Mahovlich have been crisscrossing onto each other's wings here tonight an unusual number of times.
Don Ory and Ted Green across the Montreal line. Into the corner, McKenzie getting it back to Stanfield. A shot right on. Oh, and Busick missed on the rebound after Phil Neer had pulled off a great save on Stanfield. Here's Stanfield back into McKenzie. McKenzie trying to center it. Now it's loose to Busick. Busick right out in front of Stanfield. He scores! Stanfield, who was robbed earlier, set up beautifully. And the Bruins right back into the thick of things again. 3-2.
And give this line of the Bruins terrific marks for a solid effort of hard work because they just kept working and working. Busick and McKenzie in particular. Now, there's that first shot, as Danny mentioned. Mears saving off Stanfield. Trombley has the puck go off his stick. Then it's Stanfield to McKenzie. Trombley can't hang on to the puck again. Busick keeps after it as it bounces around behind the net. Busick gets over there. The Canadiens unable to control it. I don't know where the other forwards are, and a quick shot by Stanfield makes it 3-2.
Boston's goal scored by number 17, Fred Stanfield, assisted by number 8, Ken Hodge, and number 19, John McKenzie, at 9 minutes 51 seconds.
Long pass to the wing. Dallas Smith clearing it ahead. Richard touched it. Now Sanderson can play it without being offside. And he cleared it in. 9 minutes and 35 seconds left in the hockey game. 3-2. Richard with Don Marcotte trying to set him up for a body check, and Marcotte went flying. Carlton, a back pass, LaPerriere for the Montreal Canadiens. Gets it ahead of Jacques Lemaire. Lemaire being watched by Sanderson. Lemaire down in on the left side. The whistling drive, and it's offside.
Out in Vancouver, Pittsburgh has scored again. Greg Polis, his second of the night, 3-2. The Canucks leading the Penguins. That's early in the third period. Hermie Ullman in that game in Toronto has a goal and 4 assists. He's up into fourth place now in the scoring.
Bobby Orr plays it off to Dallas Smith, to Carlton, knocked off his stick. Now it's Dallas Smith again. LaRose couldn't get it. Orr ahead to Marcotte. Marcotte coming in with Orr over the line. There's the pass. Backhand shot by Sanderson wide. Marcotte along the boards falls. LaPerriere to Richard. Richard fails to clear it. Marcotte bumped by LaPerriere. Sanderson jolted his man Lemaire, and Sanderson is going off. Maybe an elbow to Charlie.
This is Hockey Night in Canada from the Forum in Montreal.
Derek Sanderson.
The elbowing
2 minutes for
on
elbowing
Sanderson.
at 11 minutes 21 seconds.
Should say the elbowing was on Lemaire. Sanderson threw the elbow, and he's in the penalty box at 11:21 here in the third period. The Canadiens leading the Bruins 3-2.
Gallivan, Frank Mahovlich, Cournoyer, Guy Lapointe, and J.C. Tremblay on the power play for Montreal. Marcotte and Westfall up front. Green on defense of John Ory. Green shooting it back into Canadian territory, and Tremblay steps back there to get it to Cournoyer. Cournoyer scored the first goal of this hockey game. Now he gets away from Marcotte out over the line. The pass nowhere near Gallivan or Mahovlich. Down the ice it goes. Green after it. Green plays it on the boards for Westfall. Now it's kept in there. J.C. Tremblay takes it to the Cournoyer scores!
The Bruins pull a no-no in their own end of the rink after Green has control of that puck. Right here, Westfall. Can't get it by J.C. Tremblay, and then Mahovlich backhands it to Tremblay. Watch the move he makes here as Ory goes down onto the ice. Tremblay, a beautiful setup for Cournoyer, who scores as Westfall gets there just a little too late as far as the Bruins are concerned. And it's 4-2, the Canadiens leading.
Et numéro 27, Frank Mahovlich, à 11 minutes 49 secondes. Canadiens goal scored by number 12, Yvan Cournoyer, assisted by number 3, Jean-Claude Tremblay, and number 27, Frank Mahovlich, at 11 minutes 49 seconds.
So Cournoyer, his production has been amazing this year. That's his 23rd goal, and he's playing in his 31st game tonight. So Montreal 4, Boston 2. Green clearing it up on the right side. Hodge missed it. Ferguson takes over for Montreal. Lobbing it back in. Green there against Roberto. Green ahead to Esposito on the right side for Hodge. Cashman moving up on the other wing. Here's Hodge trying to center it. Esposito clearing it in. Cashman knocked it to an open wing. Roberto starting out for Montreal. It goes Mahovlich to Ferguson. Ferguson into the corner, centering it, and Green in possession for the Bruins. 7 minutes, 23 seconds remaining in the hockey game. Peter Mahovlich lost it to Esposito. Esposito to Cashman. Cashman with Roberto checking him very closely. Roberto knocking it off his stick. Green took Don Orey's pass. Green lobbing it in to Mir. And Harper shoving a bit there with Cashman. Harper 19, Cashman 12. 7:01 left.
Goal, an assist is given to Johnny Busick instead of Ken Hodge.
So it's Stanfield and Busick and McKenzie. And takes the assist away from Hodge. There is Gallivan. The end of the bench. Ferguson and Hodge go for a skate. Ferguson has great respect for this Boston right winger. And no doubt Hodge respects Ferguson about the same degree. Less than 7 minutes left, 6:55. Bobby Orr and Dallas Smith on the point. Now it's back to Orr. Orr off the boards to Hodge in the corner. He tried to center it and went off LaPerriere. Roberto comes up with it. Roberto gathering speed, going to center. A pass for Ferguson. Ferguson getting set, shoots it right on! And a big save by Eddie Johnson. And Ferguson unleashed a great wrist shot there. Dallas Smith to Orr. Orr goes to the line, trying to barge in there. Puck is loose. Now it's cleared out by LaPerriere down the ice, and Dallas Smith goes after it. They were able to get icing on that because that puck went down there on end. Dick, remember the game you did last year in St. Louis? Dallas Smith, there's a shot off J.C. Tremblay. McKenzie trying to center it, and Mir picked it up. And Jacques Plante came up with one of the great performances, I thought, in All-Star game history last year, Dick.
Well, he made the game. The East team was, that St. Louis crowd had them stirred up. There was no way that they were going to let the West team win that one. Plante saved it from being a complete rout.
The Bruins with Stanfield, who was about to face off against Frank Mahovlich. And they'll come back in there. Now it's back to Orr. Orr clearing it for McKenzie. He chases along the boards, bumped by Guy Lapointe. Now Frank Mahovlich losing it to Bobby Orr. His shot right on. And you know, Orr reminds me, in one facet of his game, Dick, of a fellow who was seated just next to us a moment ago. You see how he gets that puck on the net all the time.
And the fellow who was sitting next to us until a moment ago is Maurice Richard. And here it is on the replay. Same spot from where he scored the goal early in the game.
Tardif and McKenzie do some light jostling. They're out of your picture. There you see the stick of McKenzie and the two of them. Frank Mahovlich says something to Tardif, and McKenzie went over to chat with Stanfield. Now it's back to Orr. He failed to clear it in. Tardif racing after it with Cournoyer. Here's Tardif going in on the left side. Shoots, and Eddie Johnson who in this period particularly has been cutting off these angles well, was out well that time. Now McKenzie in on the right side. There's a pass off J.C. Trombley's stick. Frank Mahovlich coming up with Cardiff. Mahovlich shoots it. Oh, what a drive that was. It was high and wide. And that big fellow can unleash a great shot. Orr out over the line. McKenzie on the right side. Orr feeds it to the left wing, and offside was Dallas Smith. The face-off, Richard clearing it to Harper, and LaPerriere now with it. LaPerriere returns it, and Harper starting out, clearing it ahead. Lemire catches up with it, going after it again. Richard has it, shoots it to the short side. A quick shot by Pocket Richard. Sanderson and Richard fall. Green now into the corner against LaRose, who fired it to the other side, and that's Don Marcotte clearing it to Richard's stick. Richard laid it across the line. Less than 5 minutes left in the game. There's Sanderson picking it up on the left wing. He hops by Harper. Carlton and Richard on the board. It's loose. Harper has it. Out he comes across the line. And as he crosses the center line, he gives it in there to Eddie Johnson. Claude LaRose trying to center it. Body by Sanderson. They fight for it. Carlton, Richard, and Horry move in too. And the face-off to the left of Eddie Johnson.
This game is coming to you from the Forum in Montreal.
I changed my life, and Subway's.
And Demir over there at the Canadiens bench. His suspender, I think, has to be looked after, and Eddie Palchek is doing that.
Had a shot of Derek Sanderson. He's quite an advertisement for hockey in the United States. He's been on the talk shows, the big ones. Johnny Carson, he walks out there like he's skating out to a practice with the Bruins. He's so casual and confident about things. I understand that Life magazine is going to do a feature on him in the very near future. He's a much talked about young man.
The interest in hockey in Boston is just incredible. So great that they had to schedule some extra TV coverage. People clamoring. And you have to line up with a few tickets available early in the morning. 4:25 left. Roberto is poised in the slot. Number 17, Ferguson in that slot area generally, and Dallas Smith has it. 4-2, Montreal in front. Smith for Orr. Orr back to Dallas Smith at center, clearing it in. It's missed Esposito. Ferguson touches it, and it's icing against Boston. The next game here at the Habitants Habitat, 1 week from tonight, Detroit. The first of the month, with the ice show coming in, the Canadiens will be away for a couple of weeks. And after tonight, the Leafs do not play in Toronto again until February 2nd. And they're leaving their home fans with some lasting impressions tonight. They're leading Los Angeles 8-1. Orr going to the line. Hands it off to Hodge. Off his stick. Here's Mahovlich racing after it. Peck leaves it there for Roberto. Roberto clearing it in on the right side. Going after Dallas Smith. And he bumps Smith heavily. Now Cashman from in front of the net. Coming out against Peter Mahovlich. And so far in this period, Canadians have done a pretty fine job of protecting a lead and adding to it to a degree. And as Dick mentioned, they have been plagued by their inability to hold on to leads. It cost them dearly last year and costing them again this season. Bruins shooting it in. 3:15. Offside. So the Bruins with Vucic, McKenzie, and Stanfield, Green and Don Horry, now are working very much against the clock. But everybody alludes to their power, and they don't need too much time to score goals. Gallivan, Mahovlich, and Cournoyer for Canadians. J.C. Tremblay back to Guy Lapointe. Guy Lapointe out over the line. A right wing pass for Cournoyer. Down the ice it goes. No icing. Eddie Johnson had to touch it. Don Orey playing it up to Busick. Busick ahead, and he missed Fanfield with the pass. Guy Lapointe to J.C. Tremblay. Back to Lapointe. Lapointe out slowly. Plays it off the board. Don Orey ahead to Busick. He missed it. And Cournoyer clearing it for Mahovlich. He couldn't get it. McKenzie does. There's a puck at the Canadiens line. Tremblay ahead for Mahovlich. Mahovlich to Cournoyer. Back to Mahovlich. Fouled on the offside. 2:34 left.
Well, it takes a little getting used to, and you see a fellow like Frank Mahovlich after watching him for so many years in a Canadiens uniform now. The other night in Minnesota, they were caught with their 27s down, Danny. The trade happened so fast, so he had to wear number 10. But they managed to get 27 for tonight.
Did the Canadiens ever have a 27, do you know this? It's shot into the Canadian zone. A Harper back after it, and that's something that the Bruins did not want. An icing call at this stage, the face-off in their zone. If you've just joined us, Cournoyer 2 goals, Tavares, Roberto 1 each, and for Boston, Orr and Stanfield. Esposito has not a point tonight, and that's a rarity. Cashman knocked into the boards by Roberto. Now then, Dallas Smith starting out for Boston. The pass goes off the stick of Esposito. Now over the line. Cashman brought it in for the offside.
Well, Danny, talking about the All-Star game, you're referring back to that one of last year. After it was all over and the East team had given the West a pretty good go, Scotty Bowman, who was coaching the West, said, well, one thing will be different next year. Bobby Hull will be on our side. And indeed he will be.
And you'll have a goodly number of the Chicago Blackhawks. Now Roberto coming in on the right side, and there's going to be a penalty here to Dallas Smith. Is it Dallas Smith? And Roberto and Dallas Smith give some indication that they'd like to exchange punches, and the linesmen, D'Amico and Armstrong, watching them closely.
Well, you will recall a moment or so ago when Dallas Smith was draped into the glass in the Bruins end of the rink by Phil Roberto. And now Dallas Smith is penalized for that particular infraction as Roberto is coming down that right side. And it's John Ferguson acting as a peacemaker, telling Phil Roberto to cool it and let Smith go to the penalty box by himself.
I've tried quitting on my own.
I'm kind of scared to fail.
Right after this pack. So I've tried going around with a lollipop in my mouth.
It's the cravings.
I gotta quit smoking.
Quitting's never easy. That's why I recommend Nicoderm. Add Nicoderm to your willpower and you can double your chances of success.
I did it.
Nicoderm really helped.
It's been over a year now. I really did it.
Nicoderm, the patch most recommended by doctors and pharmacists. Available without prescription.
There are people out there who owe us answers.
Who's really involved? What's really at stake?
At the heart of every good story are good characters.
People that you probably don't want to meet, but you're going to have to meet.
Ricky blames me for staying. It's your responsibility to get to as much of the truth as you can.
Can I ask you what you're doing?
You think you know the story, but when you put some time into it, something else emerges. Something you didn't expect. Close to home, far from expected. CBC News Disclosure premieres January 14th.
So Dallas Smith off for 2 minutes or less at 17:58. Cross-checking is the charge. Montreal 4, Boston 2. And in their first meeting here, December 5th, I think it was 4-2, just in reverse. Boston winning that one. They got their goals in the first 2 periods, and then they did a tremendous job of checking the Canadians in the third. So the Canadian players had to stay near Roberto, whom you see just sitting on that bench over there. They didn't want him to go near Smith at the penalty box. Mahovlich, Peter, Rochefort, Frank Mahovlich, J.C. Tremblay, and Guy Lapointe. Orr coming out on the boards, losing it. Frank Mahovlich dropping it back. Hodge to Esposito, back to Hodge. Hodge winds up for the long shot. Mir leaving it for J.C. Tremblay. Tremblay ahead to Peter Mahovlich. The long pass goes to Rochefort. He's over the line. Frank Mahovlich going in. Couldn't control it. Mahovlich now has it out in front and comes for his brother. And Esposito cleared it away. Cashman passing it off to Orr. Orr with Esposito and Hodge. Orr goes to the line. Fakes the shot back to Esposito. There's the quick shot, and he has that fine wrist shot. Bill Mir covering up. One minute and 19 seconds left in Dallas Smith's penalty. 1:21 in the game.
Danny, the Canadians had a line out there that last shift of the two Mahovliches and Leon Rochefort, and not too many clubs could put three forwards as big as those fellas out at the same time.
Now we have Gallivan, Rochefort, Cardiff. It's Cashman, Esposito, McKenzie, and Orr, and the lone man back at the blue line. 4-2 Montreal leading. And again, for the umpteenth time tonight, we have players moving into the circle before the puck is dropped. Now Canadians clearing it out on the right side. Rochefort racing into Bruin territory. Out to Tardif, and he couldn't get the shot away against Cashman. McKenzie to Cashman. Cashman going to the Montreal line. Ran into Harper. Gallivan with Tardif. 1 minute remaining. Here's Gallivan against Orr. A backhand shot off the target. McKenzie clearing a pass. Out it comes across the line. Rochefort with 46 seconds remaining to Gallivan. Gallivan over to Tardif. Here's Tardif winding up. A shot. Oh, that was a hot one. Off Johnson, and Orr picked it up. Orr ahead to Esposito. Esposito at the line, clearing it in, trying to get in there. And he went sprawling. Stepped on Harper's stick. Gallivan with Tardif. Only Orr back. Gallivan over the line. A pass, and Orr kept it. Cashman clearing it up for Esposito. Called on the offside. 17 seconds left.
And what a move by Bobby Orr. He was back twice in the last couple of in that last sequence of action. And last time, Gallivan and Tardif. Gallivan made the deke, and Orr didn't go for it. Great play. Eddie Johnson was stunned by that last shot. He was slow recovering, but he's all right, I guess. So the Canadiens 17 seconds away from defeating the Bruins. They lead 4-2, and up to this point in the season, in 5 games against the two top teams in their division, the Canadiens had lost 5 times. Twice to Boston and 3 times to the New York Rangers.
Now it's Peter Mahovlich against Sanderson, and Sanderson again gets the draw back to Green. Don Orey watched by Roberto. It's cleared down the ice. LaPerriere going after it. They're counting off the seconds now. 3 seconds. LaPerriere looked at the clock. The game is over. Montreal 4, Boston 2.
Shots on goal in the third period by Boston 10 for a game total of 39, by the Canadiens 8 for a game total of 25.
So the Canadiens upset the Boston Bruins on the occasion of Danny Gallivan's broadcast number 1,000 of his legendary broadcasting career. A lot of Hall of Famers in that game, and one hadn't made his appearance yet. That was the season the Canadiens called up an unknown named Ken Dryden late in the regular campaign, and he was one of the leaders as they went on to an unexpected Stanley Cup victory, eliminating the heavily favored Bruins in the first round. A lot of Hall of Famers in that game. Quite an era in the National Hockey League. From 1971 at the Montreal Forum, the Canadiens 4 and the Bruins 2. I'm Dick Irvin. Thanks for watching. See you next time.